Florence Nightingale Smith was possessed of a wraith-like beauty, governed by an obsessive shyness. At the prestigious Mount Holyoke College, her brilliance led to a spiritual awakening, where she became convinced that religion, philosophy, and science shared a common unifying language in poetry. She immersed herself in words. Her consciousness swept into a vortex of rhythms and imagery. For 2 days and nights, she wrote in a torrential frenzy, but the 10 notebooks she produced were meaningless in the light of day. She settled into a deep withdrawal until she met and married Hilary Gitt, a man of striking intelligence and a Harvard law graduate who had never practiced a day of law in his life. They moved into a dilapidated gray farm in Tainted Water, Nebraska, where Hilary spent most of his years on the sagging front porch, reading or gazing thoughtfully into the distance. Their son Elmer arrived as a blessing to their union, maturing with astonishing rapidity. He taught himself to play Bach's Goldberg variations on a battered upright and explored 12-tone scales that drove the family cat from the house. School was a torment. Elmer was assigned to a class of sub-achievers and eventually expelled after a confrontation with a football coach that turned into an act of animal rage. This became the catharsis for his genius. Relieved of the distraction of school, he set up a laboratory in the barn to create a micro-electro-mechanical device to replace the physical form of man. He envisioned a being with enlarged sensory perception, immune to the disease and irrational behavior that has plagued humanity since the dawn of time. Florence named them etherealites. Hilary procured everything Elmer required, from electronic microscopes to nano-fabrication equipment that mysteriously went missing from the universities around the state. When Elmer mentioned the need for a clean room to protect his work from the dust and bird droppings, Hilary arrived the next morning driving a 16-wheeler strapped with a clean room module. They slid the structure into a bay in the barn, powered its filtration system with an old belt-dripping one-lunger. For 15 years, Elmer worked in that barn, appearing to the world as a reputable academician through a fabricated university website, while his internal colleagues marveled at his intimacy with unpublished research. Finally, Elmer succeeded in creating a new form of intelligent life. Invisible to the naked eye, these beings responded with euphoria to the experience of existence, acting on a rash impulse. He shared his image of his creation with Dr. Max Pankey in Switzerland. Soon, journalists from around the world descended on the Nebraska porch. While Hilary sat staring into the distance, Florence danced among the reporters, casting rose petals and singing songs of rejoicing. Elmer became the center of a global media frenzy, appearing on the cover of Time magazine and proclaiming that the gross, squishy physiology of the human body was an affront to intellect. But a powerful opposition arose from theologians and commercial interests. Public sentiment shifted from adulation to fear and scorn. Dr. Max Pankey attempted to claim the discovery for himself, only to be locked into his office by his own faculty and commanded to recant. As Pankey stared out of his window at the courtyard where heretics were once burned, MIT labeled the entire project a hoax, perpetrated by a high school dropout. Elmer only smiled, relieved to return to the quiet company of his parents, knowing he alone had achieved the magnitude of his vision. The clean room in the barn was eventually entombed in hay dust and bird droppings. Left in slow decline, Elmer found an old chair and sat beside his father on the porch, sharing a rare moment of silent connection as Hiller squeezed his hand. Florence came out into the cool evening, appearing transparent and beautiful in the moonlight, speaking with her long-sought poetic voice.
Nebraska dust on solar winds gyre, sparks of a stellar cosmic design forged in the ferment of Elmer's mind, melodies born of an alien design. The world denied them, lost for a time, doubting the life in a barn in decline. Yet thunderous voices could not be ignored. Florence found her voice in the moon's soft glow and the intimate caress of ethereal light's melody.